explosive decompression of the Gamov bag is a shock, as it instantly raises Joe's relative altitude by thousands of feet.
Right next to our tent, fortuitously, was the camp of David Brashears, who was one of Joe's heroes and was making a movie on Everest. When their camp heard the explosion of the Gamov bag, David literally ran over to our tent and offered his help.
I'm teaching children about how to turn a dream into reality. And that dream is Mount Everest. And I show your video at least one or two times a week in Jersey schools. I'm a teacher.
That's wonderful.
It's kind of a shitty way to meet you, though.
Oh, well.
You're feeling better. David was able to run next door, get a replacement bag, and was just one of Joe's guardian angels that night.
Is that oxygen good?
We can simulate a descent from 17,600 feet down to about 9,000 feet in about 60 seconds. It's miraculous. And people who are ill, who've been in there, tell me it was instant. The relief of the headache, the relief of the feeling of not having enough air to breathe is really instantaneous.
Holy cow, Joe, you're up to 96%. Are you warming up a little bit? Not yet. What I try to aim for is 45 minutes in a treatment.
I've had people, they beg me to get out of the bag because they feel claustrophobic, and after 45 minutes or so, all of the moisture from their expired air is all over the inside of the bag and it's dripping on them and they just want out. They get out, and the minute they get out, they go, "Get me back in there."
Good stuff.
Welcome back to 17,000 feet.
You want to walk up there?
I want to go back in there.
Boy, did you hear that?
What's that?
He wants to go back in there.
Start pumping. Pump, pump, pump.
The Gamov bag temporarily stabilizes Joe's condition, but his life depends on an actual descent.
Our contact at Kathmandu was going to try to contact a helicopter for tomorrow morning. He had mentioned because it was Friday, basically Friday evening, it would be a challenge to get a hold of someone. He had mentioned that it's Army helicopter that flies up to base camp. So he was trying to get a hold of someone this evening, but he may have to do that tomorrow morning. Copy?
Helicopters landing in a high altitude setting like Everest Base Camp, that's dicey to begin with. It's a really hazardous airspace. It is difficult for a helicopter to have enough power to get enough force under that really thin air to stay aloft, basically. So whenever I make a decision to land a helicopter, I make sure that this is really critical and it is worth the risk.
I'm hearing from David Brashears that the...
No, they can't. The BA can't land here.
Okay.
Sorry.
The what can't land here?
The Karnali BA cannot land here. You have to have the Army B2.
Okay, we need the Army B2 helicopter to land at base camp, apparently. Over. Did you read that?
Yes, that is affirmative.
If we had a confirmed military flight with the B2, that would be great. If we can't get that, then I think the safest thing for both the patient and for base camp is to go ahead and start executing a carry down to Gorakshap.
That'll suck.
Joe just yelled from inside the Gamov bag that would suck, but we're gonna take the safest opinion and tell him to just live with it, I think.
Tell him I love him.
They love you, Joe.
Right.
you want to pee?
Let's just get your arm out of the strap.
So as far as we know, we're calling a helicopter. JJ's organising that. We're not sure. We probably haven't got through to them tonight. We'll have to get through them in the morning. All right. And it's either going to come. It's unlikely going to come here. Probably Lobachet or Gorakshat. Okay.
I can't walk there.
No, you can't walk there. No, that's out of the question. It'll either be carried there, okay, or it'll have to come here.
Oh, fuck, that's...
What's that?
It's gotta come here.
It's got to come here.
I took a lazy out there.
Pardon?
It's a 14-hour walk.
Exactly.
It's gotta come here.
Yeah.
I was really, really quite concerned that Joe might not make it through the night. Unfortunately, snow fell overnight, and we had at least 6 or 8 inches of snow, fresh snow on the ground, and more falling. So we knew that landing a helicopter at base camp, even in the morning, was not going to be possible.
I've had a talk with Joe about this. He's, of course, doesn't want to be carried. He'd rather stay here, but I think that's extremely unsafe.
Joe was not excited to hear that we couldn't land the helicopter. He felt horrible. He couldn't breathe. In fact, he begged me to stay in the clinic tent until a helicopter could land. I was more concerned that the longer he stays at high altitude, the more edema he could develop, and I told him that wasn't a safe option.
Luann's experience in wilderness medicine has seen Joe through the night. Despite his improvement, moving him to a lower altitude is imperative. This burden falls literally on the backs of the Sherpas, the very people that inspired Luann to create Everest ER.
We moved to Plan B, and that was to carry him down to the closest safe landing zone at the next village, which was about a 2-hour walk.
But I have a cell phone. Do you need to make a call?
No, I just wanted to...
No, it'll be there.
I'm gonna call Liz and tell her what happened.
No, I have to keep it here. So
Okay.
Has anybody called her yet?
No, we haven't called.
Okay.
When I called the Sherpas, they very politely looked at my stretchers and said, thank you, thank you. And they threw them on their back and they took off.
One of our guys went outside, rolled up a sleeping pad, hooked up a little harness system, and basically Joe was going to sit on the sleeping pad and put the harness on his head and go. And that's just the way they do it. And they're so strong that that's the way it is.
They are the masters. They know how to move stuff through difficult terrain, and I felt stupid about arguing with them.
Huh? What's the way?
I had a hard enough time keeping up with them, you know, getting down to Gorakshat. I mean, these guys would just run with Joe for 10, 15 minutes. They'd sit him on a rock, take the headband off. Another guy would come in, put the headband on, take off. and they were literally down in Gorachep in 50 minutes.
Kathmandu with me, yeah?
Yep. He's going all the way.
It's amazing the strength they have.
Nap time.
Joe was hospitalized in Kathmandu for, I believe, 4 days before he was stable enough to leave the hospital and attempt getting on a commercial airline flight to go back home. But I can tell you that in talking to Joe's fiance since he returned home, it took him months of recovery time, and he saw specialists and pulmonologists for months after his return.
As her second year on the mountain draws to a close, Luann Freer will begin again from scratch, raising funds for another year. Another year among the adventure-seeking climbers. Another year amid the warm and inviting Sherpa people. And another year in the shadow of Shomalungma, goddess mother of the world.
I'm going to read you an email. This is from Liz, who's Joe's fiance. I'm trying to get the emotion because I've got tears in my eyes and it's not going to fucking work. Just kind of warm my heart. It says, Dear Dr. Freer, spoke to Joe last night. He sounded more like himself. He said he was going to be discharged today. He's still on a lot of medications and still coughing a lot. Saw your update dispatch with the photo of you caring for Joe in the Gamoff bag. When I think of how close I came to losing him, my blood runs cold. You are a lifesaver, and we will both forever be grateful. Joe is hopefully flying home on Wednesday, arriving in New Jersey on Thursday! Exclamation point ×3. Friends and family here are already talking about taking up a collection to replace the Gamoff bag. Isn't that just precious? It just, that's why I do this. Thanks, Liz. She says, take care and stay warm.